Hi everybody, this is Kelly from KLM Cookie Company, and I just posted my first video on YouTube to help someone figure out how to make a paint your own or PYO stencil for cookie decorating in the Silhouette program. So mine was hit or miss. It took me a while. I'm sure it's not the professional way of doing things for cookie stencils, but it works for me and I shared it this morning. So now what I wanted to do is for fonts for letters such as A's, that if you don't change this, then the middle of the A is going to fall out and it's just going to be a big bunch of color there, whether you use your airbrush or whether you use royal icing. So when I first started making stencils for cookie decorating, I would go over here to my eraser tool because I didn't know any better, and I would erase it, and then I'd go up here to my line tool and I would connect this back, and that was my process. And I would have to zoom in and make sure everything was connected, and it's the only way I didn't know any better. So after lots and lots of research and lots of hit or miss, I was finally able to learn, like I said, whether it's the professional way of doing it or not, this is the process that I use now. So just go over here to my rectangle tool and I make a small narrow rectangle, and I will pull it right down over the A. And if you look at stencils online for cookie decorating and just stencil fonts, you'll find that they're disconnected in many different ways. So it's completely up to you, but for this quick little tutorial, I'm just going to make it quick and easy. So we're going to select everything basically and go over here to the modify window, and we're going to click on subtract. And when we subtract it, we've now separated the A. And in doing so, when you put this through the Silhouette to cut your acetate, this piece of acetate, all of this stays intact because this is acetate 2 now. When you did that, you separated the A. So just in case you move things around, go ahead and group it back. So that's the way that I do it. Normally, what I would do would be to make more than one of these little sticks. Excuse me. So they're all the same size. And I'm on a Mac, so it is Alt key, click down and drag, and now you've got 2 that are the same size. So everything will be the same. Doesn't always work based on whatever it is you're working on. You might have to make smaller ones, thinner ones. But again, just select everything and hit subtract, and then right click and group. And now all of your bits and pieces will stay together. The other thing that I do, my personal process, do whatever works best for you, is I make a 5.5 by 5.5 inch, take off this lock aspect. I make a 5.5 by 5.5 square, because I use the Stencil Genie. And what I then do is select both, which is hold down the shift key if you want, or you can click and drag. And then go over here to the align window and I just click on center. So now it is all centered on that 5.5 by 5.5 square. And when it cuts out, when the acetate cuts out, this whole piece will fit into the Stencil Genie perfectly. And I use an acetate that is 9.5 by or excuse me, 9 by 12. So the way that I have that on my pad here, I can get 2 stencils at the same time. So now if you were wanting to make a name out of Carla to PYO, you could do it. You would just ungroup, start over, and I'll just show you the C. Go over here to the offset window and do an internal offset. You might want to make that. Now see, first things, I'm going to go back because I noticed that's not going to work too good. Let's try the other offset. And we're going to bring it down this way. We can control it a little bit better. Okay, so now we are going to go ahead and group group that letter. Actually, I don't have both of them. There we go. We're going to group them both. All right, so now what we need to do is basically the same thing that we did here. Is we need to make a little bit of a gap. Whoops, not the line, the rectangle tool. Alt and click will give you more than one, and they'll be the same size. So what we're going to do is click on the C again and make sure that it's a compound path. So we're going to make that a compound path. And then we're going to use both of these at the same time. If you hold down your shift key while you're turning, it'll snap and be perfect. So we're going to go like this. And now we're going to select all 3 of those items, the letter and both of those little rectangles. We're going to go back to the modify window and we're going to subtract once again. And now we have made a font that would be PYO friendly. So these A, R, L, and A, these are stencil friendly. These are just going to all get cut out. So you'll be able to stencil royal icing or using your airbrush. This is what you would need for PYO so that each one of these sections cuts out on its own. And I'll show you after you would go in and use your black royal icing. Some people, most I've seen are black. I like the idea of white. Let's get rid of the line. So I used the paint bucket and I just filled it with black. And now I'm going to get rid of the red line just so you can get a good idea. And so the red cut line, I'm going to get rid of that just by clicking on this funky spot. So now, if you can imagine, you've placed your PYO stencil on your cookie and you've laid down your royal icing and then you've swiped it right back off. And now you've removed your stencil. This is what it would look like. That is what your PYO would look like. So, good times. And then the kids can just paint right in this section. So, that's it. There's a stencil, there's a PYO. And that's the way, at least that's the way that I do it. So when I come back, I'm going to, my next video, I think I'm going to work on making a design stencil friendly. So thanks so much. I hope it helps. Bye.